Hey, what's going on, guys? Asian Eyes White Dragon here. This is going to be a side deck profile against Inzektors because it's one of the most popular decks at the moment, so let's jump into it. So first off, effect failure, basically you hit Dragonfly or Centipede, and it basically finishes off the turn. Yeah, they really don't have any plays after that. I mean, sometimes they have Dark Armed, but next up we have Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, basically a skill drain, but just for them. They don't really play any lights in it. I mean, sometimes they'll play like Armageddon Knights, but basically it's like Tour Guide, Armageddon Knight, Greffer if they happen to play that. But basically it's all dark, so Shadow Imprisoning Mirror definitely pretty good. But keep in mind that most Inzektor players will side deck Thunder Kings, depending on what deck you're playing. Obviously, that will be taken into consideration. But yeah, next up, Fiendish Chain, another pretty good card, similar to Effect Veiler. Basically, it ends their turn, and they really don't have much plays after that. But the thing with Fiendish Chain is it can get MST'd, and so that's why I think Veiler is kind of the better option. But still, it's better to have multiple options if you happen to have them. And the next up, Chain Disappearance, really great card against a Inzektor Dragonfly. It basically hits Dragonfly and Hornet. Some people do summon a Hornet, and you're like, well, how would they summon a Hornet? If they happen to have a Torrential Tribute set, and you have a huge field, they can summon a Hornet and then Torrential Tribute, and then they can set up for next turn. And you can essentially Chain Disappearance if you wish to do that. But yeah, Chain Disappearance hits Dragonfly, and it hurts them pretty bad, I'd say. I mean, yeah, they can Leviair and make it, but that slows them down a lot. Next up, we have Crafts into the Different Dimensions. So basically, you're going to be sending back those Hornets. Again, same thing with DD Crow. With the next card, yeah, just sending back, banishing, getting rid of that Hornet essentially is going to be key. Although if they happen to have one in their hand, there's really not much you can do against it. Another card, Light and Darkness Dragon, and basically all of their effects are basically summon Inzektor, try to equip, and they can only equip once per turn, unless it's Gigamantis, because Gigamantis equips himself. So I think you might be able to actually Inzektor Gigamantis over and over. To get rid of Light and Darkness Dragon, but not everyone plays Gigamantis, so keep that in mind. I think Lad is okay, but again, I'm not positive on the ruling as far as equipping multiple times with Gigamantis to just get rid of Light and Darkness Dragon. Alright, next card, Tiger King. He's okay. I mean, he basically stops the summon of a Dragonfly, but I mean, Centipede can get around it, so just keep that in mind. Next card, Consecrated Light. Basically, they can't summon Inzektors. Don't set this card against Inzektors either, because they'll just pop it. But yeah, definitely summon it, and you can kind of pass, and they really can't do much. They can set up really well. They can send the Hornet to the graveyard. They can summon Armageddon Knight and do that. There's a lot of other stuff they can do, but keep in mind they can still use the effects, but they just can't summon anything. Just basically you have to play around it. I never really was a fan of this card, but it does stop like Infernities pretty well. And if you're playing against Blackwings, maybe you could have this on your side. Next up, a Skill Drain. This hurts pretty much a lot of meta decks at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it could hurt your deck, so you might not want to be playing that. Next up, I don't know why Light Imprisoning Mirror got in here. It slid its way in there, but you shouldn't play Light Imprisoning Mirror. Next up, Compulse. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, sometimes you can finish the game off relatively easy because Inzektors don't really have much summons, and their back row is usually like against back rows like Space and stuff like that. And if they side, they might side like Dust Tornadoes in case of Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, or they might just side into multiple MSTs. So Compulse is relatively good because you can finish them off really fast, depending on what deck you're playing, obviously. Same thing with Force Back, it's just a counter trap. Also, this is okay against Six Samurais when they go summon Kageki, and you just go no, and then they're like, oh, and then they literally have no plays after that. If they don't have a Six Samurai on board, I mean, they could special summon Elder, but like, who really wants to special summon Elder, not do anything? Because I'm sure they would have special summoned Elder first, not special or normal summon Kageki if they were doing that play. And then last card, second to last card, Karma Cat. Relatively decent. Just discard a card, remove from play one face-up monster your opponent controls. Then you remove from play any cards in the graveyard with the same name. So I mean, it works well against Dragonfly, and pretty much any of the Inzektors, it just gets rid of it. And then last card over here, Doom Caliber Knight, because nothing in Inzektors can really get over Doom Caliber Knight. They basically have to 1-for-1 it, or if they happen to be able to equip. I mean, it doesn't really make them go minus because they're, sending the Hornet to the graveyard doesn't really hurt them. But it does stop their play for that turn. So it just kind of like lets you be okay for that turn. and you can kind of push on them. But yeah, basically playing against the deck, don't put a lot on the field unless you have answers to it. Like, don't set like 5 if you can't activate any of them. That's just one thing. It's like playing against Blackwings when they have Inzektors attack set. You basically just force them to not be able to activate it. Just keep one thing on the field at a time unless you're able to answer the card. And a really great card against, I'd say, is making Stardust Dragon, because like all they really do is pop. I mean, yeah, they can go Tour Guide, make number 17 point for point if they really want to, but in that case, they're not getting their Inzektor play off, and that's not going to really be that great for them. I mean, they're just kind of like waiting for another turn. But yeah, just try to make Stardust against them, and I'd say you're pretty good to go. If you're playing 6 Samurais, you have that Magatama card, and there's a lot of other things, that stop destruction. There's like Destruction Gemmer, but I don't think that card's that great, just because you have to go -1 with it. But yeah, these are some of the cards that I thought they were great against side decking against Inzektors. But yeah, if you happen to know any other cards that you think are great against Inzektors, let me know in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.